Well, it's been a mildly uneventful few days back out here after some major rain delays. Just finished getting the rest of the roof all sanded up. I'm gonna do a little bit of washing, scrubbing. I gotta do some Corroseal, which is a rust converter. There are a couple spots, let's see if I can get them up here. A couple spots that I've noticed. So this is aluminum, the top is aluminum, but that little ridge clearly is just clearly made out of steel because it's got some surface rust on it. So trying to get the top edge cleaned up as quickly as possible. We've got no rain in the forecast in the next few days. I do have some really good news, a great little update. So the bus was gone for a few days because I was getting new airbags and suspension rods installed all the way around. But while she was gone at the shop, went ahead and pulled the trigger because a couple of the tires weren't even holding air, and jumped on 6 new tires. And while I was at it, they reconditioned, sandblasted, or powder coated, I guess is what it's officially called, powder coated those wheels. And so I'll have to do obviously the hub and the actual lug nuts. But man, that looks nice. And boy, does it look nice to have 6 new tires on that mug. So that's good. Gonna jump back up on the roof, like I said, do a little bit of washing, cleaning, let it dry, and then hopefully by tomorrow can start to put on some Enviro White, some Henry's Enviro White, which is what we're using for our actual roof coat, elastomeric but acrylic based, as opposed to the Henry's Tropicool, which a lot of people use, which is awesome, but it's silicone based. And I started thinking, why didn't I use that the first time I did a bus conversion? And then I started to read up again on it. It's funny how much you forget sometimes 5 years later. Started to read up a bit on it, and obviously for some people they go ahead and jump on it, but for me I just felt like it was not the right choice. I got a couple things I'm not sure yet in terms of what I want to do up on the roof. So the thought of having something silicone based, which can be really hard to get things to stick to, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to make the jump to a silicone based coating. A lot of the roof's going to be covered up anyways by solar panels, but I still want to do some type of insulated paint for a top finish. So we're going to start putting the Henry's Enviro White on, hopefully tomorrow. So completely sanded down. Boy, some really rough spots in some of these areas, which I'll be pretty excited to reseal. These edges, which again, aluminum, and then this is an actual fiberglass cap. I'll recaulk all that with some Sikaflex. Try to get this sealed and primed in as many spots as I can, so when I'm ready to put down that Enviro White, we've got as much down on the roof as we think we need to have in terms of primed, no rust. These bad boys are coming out, and I have a plan for those, but I'm going to get the roof kind of painted and sealed before we actually get to that point. So info on that to be shared later. So let's do a little bit of cleaning.
We've been waiting all these days, and we've been trying to find our way. Time won't stop for the weak-hearted. It might take a shot to start it. Let's go, let's go, never hold nothing back. Let's go, we'll take our own chance. Running down the daylight, swimming through the stars. Let's go.
If you're currently converting a bus, you already know this. but there is a glamorous side of conversions. Excuse my power washer. And then there is a non-glamorous side of conversions. The glamorous side comes when you get to start planning your floor plan and putting in your couch and hanging up your pictures. The non-glamorous stuff is pretty much everything from gutting, which I didn't have to do this time. Thank you, Jay Hawking. To scrubbing mold and lichen off of roofs, to sanding and painting. But it's all part of the process. So we're about halfway done, 3/4 of the way done. I got just a little spot left, and then I'm going to leave this to dry while I try to do a couple other things inside of the bus.
On this voyage of the great beyond, sometimes you need to be reminded. You need to get lost to find it. Let's go, let's go, never hold nothing.
New day, new mustache. I needed to shave. And continuing with roof prep, I'm gonna spend the morning using a product called Corroseal. This is incredibly helpful if you ever find yourself in any type of bus conversion. This is a rust converting metal primer. So not uncommon when bare metal gets exposed to start to get a little bit of surface rust. And the great thing about Corroseal is that it takes that surface rust and literally will convert it into a black primer that can be painted right on top of. And so when I got up here a few days ago and started sanding everything down, I started to notice pretty quickly, whoa, that surface rusting of some of the exposed metal started to show up pretty quickly. And this is interesting. So obviously, I think I've said this a few times, aluminum, right? So it doesn't rust, but clearly steel rivets, which are rusting. And then this part of the bus must be a structural steel as well, because it is rusting. So here's a look at some spots I've already done so far. You can see where it's black, and then right next to it is a bit of surface rust that hasn't been converted. And literally all you do is paint this stuff on. It will convert that rust into this black primer, and then you can paint right over the top of it. So I've done just the first little bit down the roof here. I'm gonna continue, hit spots like this for sure, and then probably over most of the rivets that are on the bus, just to give it a little bit of a surface area to receive insulated white roof coating. So I'm going to try to get things as primed as possible here in the next hour or so on this roof to get it really ready to receive that roof coating that we'll put on hopefully here by the end of the week. Literally is like a milky kind of brown substance, and when you apply it, again, you're essentially converting that small amount of surface rust into something that can be painted right over the top of. Kind of taking care of rust prevention and primer all in one step. If you are doing a bus conversion, you are going to run into rust for sure. There's a couple different products that are out there, all that kind of do the exact same thing. Now, the one caveat with Corroseal and most other rust preventers is you can't have layers of rust or like a flaking rust. You do need to grind it down so that you're as bare metal as possible. And then this is actually just converting that top coat of rust. This is not something that would take, you know, a rusted through panel and completely convert it. You'd need to cut out areas that are sort of flaking in rust. Get that ground down to bare metal, and then you'd be good to go.
Let's go. Never hold nothing back. Let's go. We take our own chance.
All right, Corroseal is on all of the rivets and any of those surface rust spots. They say you're supposed to give it about 24 hours to cure. I might push that a little bit because I'd love to not have it sit through nighttime dew, because it gets really wet at night in Michigan in the fall, and I'd like to keep it from getting water on it. So I might push it just here till the end of the day. I think we'll probably be okay.